Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm David with Philippine American Couple, and in today's video what I want to do is talk about the 9A visa from the Philippines. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take us to the website and we're going to walk through this. So you don't have to worry about hearsay or misinformation. You can see it on the Philippine government website firsthand for yourself. Because I think that's really important to have good, accurate information that you can go to for a resource. But before we get to that, if you're new to our channel, we greatly appreciate you coming by, but we ask that if you'll subscribe, like, and share, that helps us make more videos. And if you enjoy our content, it just gives us a support and encouragement. And please feel free to leave comments or questions. We also have a Facebook group that we do a lot of this stuff on for traveling to the Philippines, for mixed couples, all of this good stuff. So we have a lot of stuff that we do, and we appreciate all of you guys very, very much. All right, so I'm going to take you over to the Philippine government website. So here we have the actual government website. And so the philippineconsulate.org website is what I'm on. Here's something to keep in mind, guys, is you want to be careful when you're doing your Googling and your searching for websites that end in .org or .gov are the ones that you want to really look at and study, because those are official websites from the governments. If it ends in a .com, that's going to be a business, and somebody's, saying, a visa service may be what that is. So just keep that in mind. But here, let me minimize me, put me in a little box somewhere over here maybe. And let's talk about the 9A. So like I said, I'm right here on the website. See it? And under here, I just searched for the 9A visa. Now, here's what it says about the 9A visa. One, and we're just going to go through this. Let me see if I can blow this up a tiny bit more for you guys. All right. So you have to fill out the application form completely. If not, it's going to be rejected and returned back to you. There is a separate form if you're from the Republic of China. You must have original and photocopies of the passport, and it must extend at least 6 months past your travel dates. So they want to make sure that your passport's not going to expire while you're in the Philippines. That's their big key. If it's within 6 months, I recommend that you just simply go get it renewed for 10 years and no problems ever again. The photos, you got to have a 2-inch by 2-inch size photo taken within the last 6 months. I would just go and get a passport photo like at Walgreens or CVS or anywhere, Walmart, That's what you want. White background, no hats, no glasses, just like a passport. So it's also asking for a photocopy of the applicant's round-trip flight itinerary. So it wants to know that you're flying in and you're flying out. So you can either have a round trip back to your home country or to your next country of origin. Let's say, if you're going to work the system, we're going to go to the Philippines, do that. Then we're going to go to Thailand and come back. Whatever, maybe kind of a throwaway ticket. So you have to have one of the two. Proof of financial capacity. What they really mean here is to prove that you have money, that you have resources to take care of yourself while you're being a tourist in their country. So, and some of the examples they give is your credit card accounts, bank statements, ownership of real estate, any other financial document, maybe your tax returns would work, all of those different ways. If you can prove that you have financial support while you're there, that's the key. If the applicant is not a restricted national under the Philippine visa policy, then the applicant may choose instead to submit a duly signed application notarized by a local public, notary public, along with the other requirements above. So once you get this done, just take it to your bank or somewhere and have it notarized, and you're good to go. Let's look at the fees a little bit, and then we're going to go through the application. Here are the basic fees. The application fee for this 9A tourist visa are as follows: $30 for 3 months, $60 for 6 months, and of course $12 for 90. 9A visa is currently working, and we just got back from the consulate in Houston, Texas. And we asked them, should I go ahead and apply for a 9A visa? And they said, absolutely not. They said, if your wife is with you and you're traveling to the Philippines, you're going to go back on the Balik Bayan visa, which is the 1-year free visa that you can go when you're legally married. Got it, guys? Legally married. Then that allows you to get into the country. You still need your passport, marriage license, all of that good stuff. Right now, what they were doing is allowing this 9A, not for everybody, but just for spouses or children. So let's say if my wife was already in the Philippines and if I wanted to go to the Philippines, I could apply for this one. And I may, not absolutely, guys, but I may get accepted for this visa. The application is straightforward. Here, let me put my photo right there so you can see. You got to put your 2x2 photo here. You want to put your name. I already got mine in here. You can just type in here, right here on the screen. So that's really nice. So you can fill all of this out instead of handwriting it, because the cleaner you make this, the easier it's going to be for the folks to process this. But you want to answer every question. What's your occupation? Retired? Okay. Where do you work? I don't work anywhere. Where do you work? Walmart. Address. Are you married? Are you divorced? Are you single? Because they're going to look at this, and right now, they're not letting singles in, or widowers in, or separate in, or divorces in. Right currently now, during the pandemic, here in 2021, they're saying just a married spouse can come over on the 9A. Port of destination, address of your spouse. See, they want to know where your spouse is. You're going to have to prove to them that, financial means of support, links to stay. So you're going to fill all of this out and add the documents that they ask you to add, and you're going to submit it to your local consulate. It shouldn't take very long to get approved, is what they told us in Houston. Especially since you have to have your ticket already booked. So I would highly recommend that if you have a ticket, you do this. If you're going to do a 9A, do it at least 60 days before you fly out. So give yourself a couple of months to get this, because it doesn't expire. I think the gentleman told me that you have about a year to use this visa. So if it's January and you're not flying out into September, you can apply for this as long as you got your ticket already booked. This is our entry requirements that are currently going on in the Philippines. Now, remember, tomorrow things in the Philippines will be different. So I'm going to recommend that you guys always look at the official websites for the latest update and the correct information, because it doesn't matter what I tell you or what anybody else tells you out here. It's what the government's going to allow you to do. That's just the bottom line. That's why I'm trying to show you this website, so that you can do your own work and not take my word for it, but actually see how this works. So they got a couple of links about travel advisories, and we'll look at that in a second. But let's see who's allowed. Right now, from May 1st of May 2020, who's allowed? Filipino citizens, category non-dual citizens. They just need their passports. Dual citizens, Filipino citizens, dual citizens. A valid passport. The Philippine passport is not available or is expired. The following may be presented. So the valid foreign passport and identification certificate. So when Lorelei became a dual citizen, they gave her an identification certificate. And of course, we have her U.S. passport. But we also went ahead and applied. That's why we were in Houston last week for her Philippine passport to help with this right here. Foreign nationals who are allowed entry under the Balik Bayan program, that's what I was talking about earlier, provided they are nationals from non-visa countries such as UK and Ireland. These include former Filipino citizens, together with their foreign national spouses, children, regardless of age, who are traveling with them. Foreign national spouses and children, regardless of age, of Filipino citizens who are traveling with them. You got to have a valid foreign passport. So I have my passport. Proof of former Filipino citizenship, such as Philippine birth certificate or expired passport. So if you're a Filipina and you give up your citizenship, become a U.S. citizen, your birth certificate or your old passport would work. So for foreign nationals spouses and children who are traveling with the former Filipino citizen or Filipino citizen, you got to have a valid passport, proof of relationship. This is the key. You got to prove that you're married. Your marriage certificates, and we have the original, that's notarized. We'll be taking that. Foreign citizens with a valid 9A visa. And here's something I want to talk about, and that's why I bring this here. The 9A visa at the time of entry, right? So we're going to apply for a 9A visa because my spouse is in the Philippines and I want to go there. So I do the paperwork, we fill out the application, we submit it. A valid foreign passport. Remember, you got to have at least 6 months or better on it. An existing visa, which is this 9A, and the entry exemption document. This is a little tricky. This comes from the Department of Foreign Affairs in Manila. Foreign nationals who are holders of valid or existing special retirement visas, the SRRV or Section 9 visas, provided they present upon arrival the entry exemption document. So what is the entry exemption document? Well, I worked hard to try to figure that out. And so what I've come up with is this, guys. Once you get your visa approved, from my understanding, from everything I've just read, when you do your 9A visa to the consulate, they're also going to process it at the Department of Foreign Affairs. And they're going to decide whether you qualify for the 9A visa and you get your entry exemption request. My understanding is this is kind of the weeding out process. If I'm really not a spouse, they're not going to give it to me. If I'm a spouse, they're going to give it to me. Now, remember, it's from the Department of Foreign Affairs. Now, you can check this. Once you get your visa, you have to enter in your 8-digit tracking code to check the status of your request of this entry exemption document. So that's what you do. Request may be denied for the following reasons. So your 9A visa request can be denied. Incomplete or invalid documents. Your passport is less than 6 months. Reason for travel is not in line with the provisions of the Foreign Service. And whatever the latest rules are. The latest rules now are you have to be married. Or they can come up with any other reason they want to deny you. If you've been on the blacklist before. All of those little things. So if you don't have enough money in your accounts to support yourself. But they're going to verify this. Then they're going to give you a entry exemption form along with your visa. It'll be part of this. Let's look at who they're allowing to travel into the Philippines currently. Remember, this may change tomorrow. So this is right here off the Consulate General's website, and it's under visas. Here's some things to keep in mind. Philippine immigration authorities will not allow entry into the Philippine airports or seaports for the following foreign nationals. Those holding non-machine reliable passports, readable passports. So you have to have one of those passports that can be read and scanned. So if you've gotten your passport in the last few years, you don't have a problem. But if it's 10 years old, 8, 9 years old, it may not be readable. So that's something that you're going to want to update before you travel. And this is becoming a worldwide thing, so I would do that if you haven't already done it, no matter how or when you're going to travel to anywhere. Those previously deported, including the blacklist from the Philippines. So if you've gotten in trouble in the Philippines, they're not going to let you in. Those with incomplete documents. So if you don't have your visa, if you don't have your entry exemption form, if you don't have your passport, if you don't have the whatever, they're not going to let you in. They're really strict about this. Those with circumstances that would render them inadmissible, even with a valid passport. This is basically their catch-all is saying, we can refuse you entry into our country for any reason. For all visa applications requirements must be sent by mail or courier. Do not use FedEx. The Consulate General will only accept machine-readable passports and e-passports, biometric passports. Those are the ones with the microchip, are valid. Remember, 6 months is the key, or better. The visa officer can request additional documents. Depending on the application circumstances, visa processing will take 5 to 7 business days, including the time it would take for the applicant's passport with visa sticker to be mailed. The applicant may require clearance from other government agencies. That's that other form. The entry exemption request form is what they're talking about. The Department of Foreign Affairs is going to verify and make sure that you, under these current guidelines, fit the criteria to come into the country. It is suggested that a ticket reservation, pay ticket, be made only when the visa application has been approved. Now, this is a little crazy because for the 9A visa, you have to submit a copy of your ticket. So you got to already pay for your ticket. So depending on which visa that you're applying for, just keep that in mind. The rules are different for all of them. There are no refunds for the visa application processes. So let's go ahead and go down here a tiny bit, and we're not going to go through all of this, but here's the latest travel advisories. So dual citizens of the Philippines, this is their definition of that. Foreign spouses, parent traveling or joining the Filipino spouse and child in the Philippines. So foreign airline crew members are allowed to come in, and seafarers, of course. 13 visa holders. These are the permanent residents. That's what we hope to get while we're in the Philippines. I've done a whole nother video on what it takes to get one of those. And yes, you have to be in the Philippines to apply for a 13A visa. You're going to need to go back on a Balikbayan. If you got to bring your wife from the Philippines to Thailand or to Guam or I don't know, somewhere else where they are allowed to go, and you guys meet there, and then you fly back to the Philippines together to get in under the Balikbayan program, that's my current recommendations. If you can't do that, you can try the 9A visa, which is now only open to spouses and has to be approved through the Department of Foreign Affairs and the consulate. So you apply for the visa, you get that done, and then you may be allowed entry there by yourself, being a spouse. So that's kind of what the 9A visa is. So guys, I hope that's helpful. If it's confusing, please just keep reading the websites and stay tuned into what's going on in the Philippines, and we will all get there, and we greatly appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks.